Yes, YouTube, Wagwan. I'm gonna quickly do a video just about the importance of going from the higher time frame down because I think something I've noticed is that sometimes the more I trade and the more I start flowing with the market, the more I get better at using the lower time frames like the 1 minute. Recently, I've even been dropping to the 30 second, which is kind of a bit scary for me, but when the problem is with doing that is even though sometimes that can work, the higher time frames are always gonna have the strongest convictions and the strongest setups. And I want to just basically go through that and just reiterate the importance of it really because having a higher time frame bias is gonna give you so much more help and direction with the trades that you're taking. For example, I just had that marked out, but even when I zoomed out, we've got the same thing again. Look, accumulation, then manipulation happens there, and then looks like we've kind of in the process of a distribution. So look, with that in mind, then you can drop down and look, you see it again, and you've got a place then where you start looking for things to behave in the right way that makes sense to what you're trading. For example, if this is a higher time frame manipulation, there's always the accumulation there. Then I shouldn't see this really get violated. I shouldn't see this get violated at all, and I should see that price keeps making the same moves, going in that same direction. Because if we've got that kind of link, it's always going to give us the same and not drop again. I'm only dropping from the day, so that was daily. Look, bigger one here. Then we drop to the 4, and there's a whole nother move inside of the daily. Then we drop to the 1 hour. Obviously, that's not really a 1 hour move. I'd say it's more of a 30-minute move, but you can just see how it develops, and then even within this 5 minute here, that you can drop down, and there's another one there. Obviously, I've marked all these out, but I just wanted to go through the importance of doing that because inevitably as well there's always gonna be trades on different time frames, and it's not about just logging on and going straight to the 5 minute and playing price out and going, okay, what can I catch, because it gives you this tunnel vision point of view that just doesn't see the bigger picture. Whereas if I'm starting from the top down and I'm looking for all this stuff from the top down, it's gonna help me see it so much clearer. And like, obviously, it's not all about just taking it all within the same direction. Like, I think sometimes like going counter trend can make sense and like that kind of stuff, but it's to me it's about just spotting where we are. Like, for example, yeah, I've got this now as a hard time frame target, and I'm looking at this 1 hour, and I'm like, okay, cool. Like, this doesn't look like much. So, what if this was an accumulation? What if like this hasn't done its job yet? I don't know. Or just keep dropping down and being like, okay, cool. Now this looks decent. We've got a lot of accumulated lows, but this doesn't. This looks terrible. So this isn't really in a safe position to be taking a trade. It's not to say you can't overrule it and say like if this fucking inverts this and goes higher, like you can't take it. I'm not saying that, but I'm just trying to see things for a bigger picture. So, right, for example, now with the idea that this, I don't know, maybe it doesn't look like a great position to say it's protected, but let's say it is. Now we've got an accumulation spotted there. You know, we've got a clear target with all them equal highs up there. it's a decent place to be rejecting out of. Could we take this? Is it going to run away from us? I don't know. Yeah, it is, but it works. The trade hits. Another thing that I really wanted to make a point of is that most manipulations are gonna tap into a higher time frame like area. For example, there's because you got to think about it. For example, there's no real point in price manipulating into a point an area that doesn't hold weight. The whole point is to do it for a reason. We want to go higher, we want to go lower, or wherever we want to go. We're gonna use an area that makes sense to be like, okay, cool, let's take into that. And sometimes that's not even sometimes, but most of the time, that's what's gonna give more conviction on a trade as well. Is like if this if you see an accumulation start happening and there's a gap right there, then it's like, okay, cool, like let's just wait for it, let's see what happens. Like now this becomes a lot more stronger because it, it's bouncing off an area that matters. Obviously we've still got to wait for this distribution, and it's probably going to run away from us again. Yeah, it does, but just seeing that again, the exact same thing has happened here. Look, we've got an accumulation. We didn't fully know that this was a real accumulation yet, but then when we start seeing the rest of the things that line up, we've got a gap there, it holds it. We've got an we've got an area that makes sense to be protected. We didn't know it was protected at the time, but it makes sense. And the fact that we're bouncing off a gap in front of it makes even more sense that it's now protected. And then even on the same thing, we've got a small accumulation here, but we've also got a small accumulation here, and it behaves the exact same way. And yeah, like I said, we unfortunately we missed them them both, but like that's just the power of the top down, like the power of creating a narrative for yourself instead of just going, okay, yeah, cool, like, yeah, we're gonna probably do that, and then just jump down and like go straight to 3 minute and just see what you can catch. Like it's gonna be so much more confusing because then I'm gonna just go like, oh yeah, that could be an accumulation, and then I'll be like, that could be an accumulation, and before you know it, I'm just spotting accumulations without any context. And I feel like context is the missing piece, the extra piece to the puzzle of AMD. So let's keep going on this, see what where we're looking at. Obviously higher time frame stuff, we're going higher. We've got all these kind of manipulated areas that should now be holding. Difficult thing is we've got nothing really to work with at the moment, but it doesn't mean that we can't catch anything. We just got to wait for the price to do its thing again. Alright, looks like we just missed something there, but to be honest, that wouldn't have been a strong one for me. I don't think I would have taken that. No, there's no gaps to even take on that either. But the other day when I was trading gold, like these were just happening all the time. It was like kept making high highs, and then it kept doing these tiny little pullbacks, and then it just kept shooting further. And I think I got in on one, but I don't know if that was the thing that kind of threw my head off and made me start taking shit sells, because when you start seeing prices giving you those setups, it's a dangerous game because you know that it's not going to give it you every time, but part of your head just goes, oh yeah, it's won before, so why wouldn't it win again now? This on a lower time frame doesn't look bad. Look, we've got kind of accumulated stuff here, looks like we manipulated here. We'd wait for that distribution. I don't know whether it'd come or not, but you'd wait for it. But then when you zoom out and look on this higher time frame, I've got all of that. Tell me that's not an accumulation. Like how could you possibly try and fade that? And then when you look at this and go, okay, where's a gap that we could come into? There's a gap. That to me is just a 10 times stronger idea than just being like, yeah, that 1 minute looks good, so let's take it. And it could go. I'm not even saying that it won't go. Look, it's probably gonna go. Okay, no, it doesn't. But yeah, this is like the whole point of this video that I'm trying to make. It's like get more context to the trade. Like, okay, even now, for example, I just still really wouldn't be that interested in taking this because we're not bouncing off anywhere specific. We're not bouncing off anywhere important. We're not like what we've manipulated into where. Whereas, honestly, I would possibly maybe look more towards going short with this one because we've actually got a reason to be going down. I wouldn't like. I don't think I'd love the short, to be honest, but I'd like consider it. I would consider it, especially if it came into this gap and inverted it. I'd consider it. Okay, now we're going higher, but you get the point. Like, okay, this is obviously gonna hit now, but the point being that look, this is still kind of accumulating. It didn't really make a new high, but yeah, the point being that the higher time frames are gonna give us the most conviction. Like, for example, that now it's a terrible trade, but it's clearly gonna go lower. Like, and then we just, if you've got enough time, if it makes sense for your session, you're just waiting for that this to be tapped into and then go higher off it. Again, like, I don't know if this is worth taking lower. We've got kind of equal highs here. Don't really love this going lower, to be honest. Now maybe, if we tapped into a gap, yeah, we're still rejecting that 5. We got a reason to go lower, yeah. Do we have a gap to give us lower? Yeah, but also no. Okay, we do go lower, but again, like zooming out, we're in another higher time frame thingy. Okay, another example. We've got equal lows here. This looks like a really nice accumulation, manipulated through it. You know, like all of this looks really solid. We are bouncing off a gap as well. I'd be lying if I said I wouldn't consider taking this, but I would try and stay out of it because we could, like, do you know what I mean? We're still in this higher time frame area. Obviously that one does work and goes higher, but yeah, I don't know, that was a bit of a more difficult one because it did actually bounce into a gap, so it's it did make sense to go. Not that I would have even been able to get in on that because that candle would have just shot off like it did shoot off. But yeah, I'm actually interested to see what happens to this now. We might come back down through it. But again, not forgetting that this is coming down into that gap is still counter trend. Like, higher time frame we're going towards there, so it's not like it has to come into that gap. But it's more just like giving us the context, giving us a bit more of an idea, like where we want to go, where we're trying to reach for. Again, you can see that like we've just broken out of an accumulation and then we accumulated again. So, like, why? Like, where are we going? What's the reason? Could we be going further down back into that accumulation? Possibly, yeah. Can we frame a trade towards that? Yeah, you could possibly take that. It's not the greatest, again. Doesn't really bounce off anywhere specific and significant. Probably stay away from it personally. but we probably are going to come back into this. No. Alright, let's do one more day, see if we can actually catch something that lines up. Alright, so we did shoot all the way up and come back down into this. I just really feel like there's a lot of benefit in creating high time frame targets. I'm really doing this top down and going, alright, what phase are we in now? Because literally, like I showed at the start of this video, there's phases on every single time frame. Again, here we're slowing down. We've got a bunch of lows here. Why wouldn't we tap into like this gap here? That's just here. Check the 4 hour and see what that's saying. Sometimes my 4 hour freezes. Yeah, okay, fuck the 4 hour then. But like I'm saying, got a potential, we've got a reason to potentially go lower. It's a tough one, this. But again, tough one. But from zooming out and looking out, this is just a big accumulation. So I don't really see the point in trying to work within the gaps in here too much and trying to worry about it. Like, just wait until it breaks out one side. Like, I don't know which way this is gonna go at this point. If it comes up now stronger, it's probably going higher, but let's see. Okay, so we break out one side. This is nice. We come down, take all them lows. This is nice. We've got a lovely 15-minute gap there. Let's see if we get anything. This might just dump all the way down. It looks like we're trying to come higher now, so we could drop down. Let's see what else we can find. With the idea again, we've got an accumulation there. We're thinking this is a manipulation. We can't take it as a trade, but we can use it as a potential idea for sure. We're looking for these lower time frame moves now. If we get them, we get them. If we don't, we don't. We just take the bigger one. Nothing exciting here, although this looks good. We've got accumulating, we've got relatively equal lows. Is an area that we could tap into. Nothing on the higher time frames. We've got a 5-minute gap. Potentially want us to come into this, make it a bit more interesting, a bit more confident. Let's see. No, it looks like we're going to shoot off. That was our manipulation. Look, into a little 1-minute gap. It's a terrible risk to reward at that point, but could we take it? Potentially. We haven't really closed that gap. It would have been a break-even trade. Still made equal highs. Not really trying to push up too strong. Now we're coming for this 15-minute. Okay, cool. So again, we've got all these equal lows here, relatively equal. Just came up into nowhere really. We came up into a 30-minute gap. We're kind of already in it though. Took all these highs. Don't really think I'd want to take this short, to be honest. Just accumulating. It's a big old accumulation area. This is right now. I feel like I would short that if we inverted that gap. What are we on? 30. Yeah, I'd probably short this to. Don't know where I'd short it to. Maybe those lows there. It's a bit of a shit trade. micro lows as well. It's really not a strong trade. Maybe just take that 1 minute there, potentially. Let's see. It's not the strongest move, but I feel like because I've been following this price action, I actually do believe in it winning. Oh, did I even get in? Bro, it's just entered me at that. What the fuck? I'm supposed to be out on that one. But yeah. And you can see then like how following all this price action just gives you so much more conviction towards taking a stronger trade. And a stronger trade that wouldn't normally be strong. Like that 1 minute trade didn't look that strong, but because I've followed the price action to that point, and I'm like, okay, I can see how we're behaving. I can see that when we're trying to go higher, we're rejecting this and we're respecting that. It's like it's a lot easier to start drawing a bias. Again, we'd be still waiting for this trade. It's a very long one. Let's see, we've got another 15-minute thing going on here. Dropping down. Let's see, nothing really. 5-minute gap. We've got inverted. We should be coming for this high now, and that low should be protected. But again, we're not. Oh no, we are. We're respecting a 15-minute. So yeah, I'd think we're coming for that high here. We should respect that low, come for that high, and then still waiting for this 15-minute gap to get inverted here. And then once that happens, still not really that strong. Okay, we get it now. So now that whole session's worth of stuff, now that high should go, in my opinion. At least before that low goes anyway, so your start loss would be down there. Get in at a better price like that. And let's see if it plays out. Again, like you got accumulation, manipulation move right there. Get in for even better price or move the stop loss and then we hit. So yeah, honestly, like this morning I was back testing and I was shit. I literally lost like 3 in a row and I was just like, what is going on? And then all I had to do was just kind of watch my videos back, the ones that I've made, and everything made a lot more sense. And this is it really, it's just finding stuff that makes sense. Give the idea a little bit of context. There's not like AMD is gonna go. Sometimes AMD doesn't need a bias. Like for example, when we was trading these small moves inside of here, like you don't really at this point know where stuff's gonna go. But when you start creating an idea and you're like, okay, I think it will go there, but let me just wait for a little more confirmation, and then you're waiting here, and then suddenly you're waiting for, I don't know, these lows or these lows, and then you see this happen, and like it's just adding way much more conviction to a trade that otherwise wouldn't have it. I think that waiting and finding manipulation areas that respect gaps is a very strong thing to do. I think that waiting for what the fuck am I on about, man? Waiting for clear accumulations, waiting for clear moves, and yeah, again, look, even within this, look, we was looking for this target, this was our manipulation leg, there's your confirmation that it's gonna go, then you wait for a pullback for a better entry, and even this has, look, respected that gap. It's come down for a reason. We've manipulated downwards for a reason. The gap held, and then you're gonna take it up with whichever one of these gaps that you got the balls to take. So yeah.